All right, we are live. What is up, boys and girls? You're checking out a brand new the RCWR show for July 7th, 2014. Hope your 4th of July weekend was pretty good. I know some of you are actually probably still on vacation, so if you're checking us out right now, humbly thank you. I'm not flying solo on this episode, as usually on Monday nights. I'm joined by my new broadcast partner, the one and only Titus Machiavelli. Titus, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you doing, Lee?
Hey, pretty good, man. How was your 4th?
You know, as the American capitalist that I am, I'm always a big fan of Independence Day. And it's Independence Day, not the 4th of July. Independence Day, the day that America stood up and said that we are free from British rule. So I'm a big Independence Day kind of guy.
I know that's right. Did you do some good barbecuing?
You know, didn't barbecue this year. Spent time, this is our first year here in the North Carolina area. Got to check out some of the fireworks here for the very first time. So just kind of hung out with the family and just kind of hung out. It was relaxing. Wasn't busy.
I didn't do a barbecue myself either. Matter of fact, me and my girl went to the store a day before, and she's like, "So what do you want to get?" I'm like, "Well, let's just improvise." So we got like some Nathan hot dogs. We got White Castle. We got Arby's French fries. Apparently that's new. Arby's now has French fries available in the frozen food section. Got some not mashed potatoes, some potato salad. And that was pretty much it. I would have went out and I would have did something on the grill, but I would have had to clean the backyard and clean the grill, and I really wasn't trying to do all that this year. So, we do hope that your 4th of July was good once again. Titus, we got to do something new for every single episode now, and I'll explain briefly in a few seconds. But warning, the RCWR show live is intended for a mature audience only, and the reason why we're going to be saying that from now on is because we had a somewhat long-time listener message me over the holiday weekend and said, "Lee, I love checking out the shows, man, but one thing, I know you and Titus are doing your thing late at night, but me and my kids watch you early in the morning, and for the most part, you're good on the profanity, but just please keep in mind that me and my kids were watching you." And I gave him a nice little reply. I said, "We'll start doing that little warning plug. We do it on our radio shows." One thing, though, and this is a shout-out to parents, okay? I love the fact that you guys want to have your kids be involved and check us out, but we've been doing this for almost 3 years now, and if you ask me straight up, I've never seen our shows cater towards people under 16, under 15. That's never been the case, and to back that up, if you really look at the content that we have here on our YouTube channel, my God, Titus, you probably recognize this name off the break, but we talked to Primetime Amy Lee, and boy, that girl can curse like a sailor, okay? Not to mention we've had some, well, put it to you this way, you should check out our content first before you decide to sit down and watch with your kids. That's all I want to say. But we are going to start saying that from here on out. So you guys get used to it. It's just our way of CYOA. Is that right, Titus?
That's all right.
So, all right, so we had WWE Raw tonight, which came to us from Montreal, Canada. Bret Hart. Normally, Titus, when I hear Bret Hart, I love Bret Hart. Top 10 lists of wrestlers of all time. He's definitely on my list. He's not in the top 5, but he's definitely on the list. I usually get a little, I kind of get nostalgic whenever I hear Bret Hart's in the WWE, but you and me were joking about this, but I was dead serious. I said, I wonder if Bret Hart is going to pull a Hulk Hogan and be like, "Well, you know something, dude? Right here in Montreal, Canada, I got to tell you guys, one thing that I'm pumped up about, dude, is the fact that you can get the WWE Network for free for 1 week, man, without a credit card." I was looking for Bret Hart to do something along those lines, but I must admit, man, the segment that he was involved in, it just didn't really do the deal for me, man. How about you?
Yeah, it was actually a same thing. And in retrospect, I'd have been okay with a pimp on the network compared to what we got with Damien Sandow, and I'm confused by the whole Sandow deal. Are they planning something with him? Is this a big work to get to some play for him, or is it they've just got nothing else to do and he volunteered to be the comic relief? I don't know what's going on there.
On the one hand, as soon as I saw Sandow come out, I'm saying, oh, okay, so we're going to have Sandow get a little bit of a rub-off from Bret Hart. Okay, I like it. And we see Sandow, he's mocking Bret Hart, has the whole attire down, has the whole grayed up hair. I like the era of Bret Hart that
Right.
Sandow comes out as, And I'm thinking, okay, a nice little rub off. Okay, maybe this can kind of finally silence the critics that kind of feel like Sandow's being buried every single week. They got him sharing the same breathing space with Bret Hart. This has to mean something. So I'm saying to myself, okay, well, surely there's a punch in to this. Maybe we're going to see Damien Sandow take on some wrestler we haven't seen in a good minute, and he's going to score the victory over them. Sheamus comes out, and as soon as you see Sheamus, you're pretty much going, okay, this doesn't really look too good. So, like, for me to sit there and watch Sandow lose to Sheamus, I understand the way they booked it, right? Sheamus needs a little bit of momentum going into Tuesday night's main event on the WWE Network because he's defending the title against a new number one contender, which we'll talk about in just a minute. But, whatever little bit of, what's the right word I'm looking for, whatever little bit of buzz or momentum you gave to Sandow with Bret Hart, it automatically went back to neutral after you have Sandow lose to Sheamus. I just kind of question the booking right there.
Well, it's funny. I had the opposite opinion. As soon as Sandow came out, I knew it was a busted segment to just continue the whole deal with him and whatever it ends up being. What I was actually most disappointed about was, I think for the first time since returning to WWE, you had a Bret Hart promo going on there. He had some energy. He had some bravado in his voice. He sounded good. He didn't have this, well, I was WWE champion one time. He was really upbeat, and I actually thought, well, we're getting a little bit of excitement from the Hitman. And as I was just said that, I looked over at my wife who was sitting with me and said, boy, you're seeing a lot of energy out of Bret. There cues Damien Sandow, and it was almost as if you got the air out of the room. It was, well, nothing is coming out of this segment whatsoever.
Yeah. We were teasing you guys about a number one contender. It looks like there was a match that happened, I think right after this match, or was it before? I'm not sure of the order, but we basically saw a match between Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio. Fandango was at ringside. I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit because my hearing's not what it used to be in my right ear, but Titus, I swear to you, man, when Fandango was doing the whole commentating, it sounded like he was mumbling, and it sounded like Christian Bale's Batman. I didn't know what the hell he was saying, and then he just stands on the commentator's table, starts gyrating, trying to get Dolph Ziggler's attention, which Dolph Ziggler does give that attention. ADR does one sweet kick to the head, somewhat similar to what ended up having ADR become the new World Heavyweight Champion, courtesy of Dolph Ziggler, good while back. And as a result of that, it's going to be Alberto Del Rio taking on Sheamus for the United States Championship on this Tuesday's main event. Your thoughts on that whole segment? And I got to be honest, that was some really poor commentating by Fandango.
Well, Fandango. Real quiet. Yeah, it was I tweeted out a creepy Val Venus imitation. I'm hoping that if they take the time to put him on commentary again, they remind him the importance of pronunciation, articulation, and freaking talking, man. I mean, you've got your earphones on, you got your mic on, the whole world's listening to you, and all they hear is Noma, 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 noma. You got to be kidding me. He had an opportunity, Lee, to really, because what you could hear from him, I thought was somewhat entertaining. I liked him speaking, Fandango doesn't do this, and Fandango doesn't do, in that first person. I actually enjoyed what I heard, but it was, you had to listen to it. And let's be real, we don't want to sit back and have to focus on listening. We should just hear it. So I hope he got a education from Vince after that segment, because that just doesn't work.
Nah, it doesn't. Not at all. How about that Rusev versus RVD match? I mean, that one right there, as soon as I saw RVD was the opponent for Rusev, I just couldn't actually help but feel kind of bad for RVD. I mean, I know this time around it kind of seems like his role is pretty well established. He's there to put other talents over. We've heard him in recent interviews say he has no problem doing this. He likes to give back, but at the same time, he definitely cares about his value, his stock value, and all that. But Rusev, come on, guys, you should know the trend by now. You put somebody in front of Rusev, he destroys them. But I will say this, Titus, this was definitely a more entertaining outing that I've seen from Rusev in recent weeks.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems I had with the entire match was, and I think I'll start this hashtag, too little Lana. Did not get enough Lana in this week. I feel deprived and left out of Lana. Hopefully, we can get some more of that later in the week. In all seriousness, Rusev is actually a man who is, as big as he is very agile, and he moved very well in this match. And RVD was actually a really good opponent for him, and it really looked. When you look at it on paper, you're thinking, big man, small high flyer. It's just not going to look really well, but it works really well because Rusev is very agile for a man his size. It was a good match. We did. I think the best thing that was done during that was they did not have Swagger or Zeb at Raw tonight. Very, very smart. Let's not put them in Canada, in Montreal, which is a historically loud, obnoxious, engaging crowd. Let's not put them out there and take away some of that rub that had come last week. We just get the little box where Zeb makes the challenge to get away from his, quote, commie skirt. I thought that was an interesting line from Zeb. And had that challenge for the two of them at Battleground, which was tweeted out later on from Lana that they would accept. So that's added to our Battleground pay-per-view.
Yeah, on top of, I want to bring up this interesting point because I was checking out a few Bash of the Beaches over the weekend on the network, and I was also checking out some ECW. And boy, I tell you, does Rusev, as each week goes past, does he remind you of the Tasmaniac?
A little bit like Taz, yeah. There's some Taz there for sure. I think he's clearly he's bigger than Taz.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's definitely some similarities there in their movements. I don't think Taz was quite the brute that Rusev is.
No, definitely wasn't. Challenge sent. We know it's going to be accepted, but I'm really hoping that with 2 weeks to go, it really cranks up big time because they shouldn't just rely solely on, hey, it's basically Russia taking on USA. Yeah. The creative can definitely have some fun with this. I mean, you got a great mouthpiece and eye candy in Lana. You definitely got a great mouthpiece in Zeb Coulter. Let's see what these two guys can do when you gel them together.
I'm concerned about the WWE schedule leading up to Battleground, though. I mean, you're going to see some of this Japan going on. I don't know the schedule. Are they going to be back from Japan for Raw, or is it going to be? I mean, I'm assuming it's not going to come from. Obviously, they're not going to have Raw from Japan. But I just hope they don't have any scheduling problems here that takes away from doing what you just said, because you're right. You've got to kind of build it a little bit more because the motion has started forward, but that momentum has got to be continued on. They got to continue pushing that rock down the hill.
Indeed. He's Titus Machiavelli. I'm Lee Sanders. You're checking out the RCWR show, sponsored in part by our good friends at 01 Pro Wrestling, where if you have dreams of being a professional wrestler, maybe a manager, a valet, my friends, you need some proper training. So head on over to 01 Pro Wrestling. They got a great training facility down in Florida. If you need more info, hit them up at facebook.com/The Pro Wrestling School. Make sure you let them know Lee Sanders and Titus sent you, all right?
Get trained, do it right, don't be a yard tard.
That's right. Do it right. Let's talk about the way Raw had began, man, because we kind of gave a little bit of that to the folks. Let's give them some really good stuff they can sink their teeth into. How about the way it had kicked off with Roman Reigns?
Well, I'm going to back you up for just a second before you go. Let's go to that pre-show again, because they've really done something on this pre-show. They have completely changed it now. Josh Matthews gone. It appears not for our original thought, but it looks like it's going to be Byron Saxton who's going to be that host, but done within the studio as opposed to that live event, which I think doesn't have as much energy to it.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, the past 2 weeks, and we should definitely give our respected congrats to Byron Saxton, who actually got promoted. He's the new pre-show and post-show guy. I really have not seen that many people bash Byron. Like I said last week and the week before, I think he's been doing a good job so far. I can't think of a better person to step in. He definitely puts more energy into it, but it still kind of has that, what you refer to as an ESPN feel to it. It still kind of has that vibe with Byron, but it's more fun. And, it looks like they are done with the whole arena aspect. You know, somebody had a very interesting comment, and I definitely want to get your take on it. This comes from Will. I'll read everything that he said. And, folks, if you want to get become part of this episode, post those comments down below. We'll get to you guys, or you can hit us up on Twitter at the RCWR show, or you can hit up Titus at Evil Genius Titus. This is what Will had to say on YouTube. Two things. One, Lee, bruh, I think WWE listens to all your suggestions, as they seem to implement almost every idea you've had over the last few months. I'm not going to take all the credit for that, but I do make some very valid points, as well as Titus, so we'll give ourselves a pat on the back, sure. Number two, I noticed they got rid of the SmackDown Backstage Pass on the WWE Network. Do you think Raw will suffer the same fate with the debut of the Monday Night Wars? Titus, I'm going to send it to you in just a couple of seconds, but short answer, Will, yes, because as you just said, with SmackDown, and let's be for real, and not dogging SmackDown, okay? But SmackDown is probably like one of the least watched shows for wrestling because it's on a Friday night, especially since it's summertime right now. You know what everybody's doing right now on a Friday night. Look, I cover all things wrestling, and for me, I do not, true story, Titus, I do not get the SmackDown on Friday night. Instead,
I couldn't tell you the last time I watched.
Exactly. Well, see, you're nicer. See, me, I don't watch it Friday nights. I go, okay, you know what? My butt's tired from work the whole week doing the shows. Friday is my chill time. I'm not doing anything wrestling related. Saturday morning, I have a big old bowl of cereal. I'm watching my wrestling. I'm getting caught up because I got to talk about it later in the evening. So for me, and even at that, folks, with SmackDown, I fast forward, because I know I'm probably only going to see about maybe 4 matches, bunch of recaps. So keeping that in mind on what's going on with SmackDown, I thought it was rather silly that they did a SmackDown pre-show and post-show. I'm glad they got rid of it. As far as the Raw Backstage Pass, I don't think it's needed, quite honestly.
Well, you know, the problem with SmackDown, obviously, is that it is 4 days old. And one of the exciting things about Raw is what we had last week with unexpected returns, unexpected surprises. You don't have that on SmackDown because it happens on Tuesday. You can see the spoilers Tuesday if you want to, and even if you don't want to, they're going to be out there in your face on your social networking sites. I don't think it's necessary with that. If they went back to a live SmackDown, it'd be worthwhile. I don't want to see the backstage pass go away. I think that adds that realism to the show. You've got that ESPN feel to it. You can further storylines by using it. And I've said this to, indie companies that I've worked for years. You can take those post-show comments and are able to push them to the main event. You can push to to SmackDown or to the pay-per-view. I hope they don't get rid of it. I don't want them to put the Monday Night War on Monday night after Raw. It's 11 o'clock here on the East. I want to watch it and sit and relax. I'm not watching it at 11:15 at night. I'm hitting the sack. I'm a capitalist. I'm at work tomorrow.
Yep. I'm with you all the way, man. I'm telling you, the last thing I want to do is cap off my night with, first off, I can't be going to work the next day. That's the only way you're going to be able to get me to watch this. And I mean, with the option of being able to say, okay, you know what, this might be premiering at 11:15 p.m. Monday nights, but I'll just catch it on their little on demand. I guess that's what they're calling it.
The beautiful part of the network is I can watch it when I want to.
Yeah, and speaking of the network, WWE, and I'm surprised that they really did not promote the hell out of this all night long, because I sure as hell would have been doing it. You can get the WWE Network for free right now. That's right, you heard me, for free. You don't even need a credit card. All you got to do is sign up with your email, and you can test out the WWE Network for one whole week. You have until July 14th to sign up. Now, I'm not sure if they've done it in a way where you're only going to be able to access the WWE Network for free, streaming and all that on the website, because the last time they had it become free, you could only access it on the laptop or iPad. You couldn't stream it for your Xbox or your
I did see a tweet from Xbox promoting the free week, so I'm going to assume that they across all the social networking options that they have, because Xbox did promote that. And to talk about the network, I got a tweet from Bullet Sky O'Connor asking a lot about the network. Why hasn't the WWE network come out with the rest of the world, as he put it, at this point? And it's a real simple reason. They didn't just throw it all out there. They want you to stay a customer for a long time. All these things kind of lined up. Why give you every single course of the meal when they can give you one bite at a time? And even if they didn't release the Monday Night Nitros and the old Raws and the AWAs and all that stuff, there's still a ton of content that you can watch just in the WrestleManias for the past 30 years. There's a lot of content in those to sit back. So they're not going to throw everything at you, and nor should they.
They shouldn't, but at the same time, they definitely need to make that network be worthwhile. I think it's the little things that makes the network interesting. Like, one thing I noticed over the weekend, because I really was able to play around with the network since I had a few days off, is they finally put in the search function. At first you could only access that if you were in front of a desktop or laptop or whatever. I like the fact that you can now type in whatever it is you're looking for. You're thinking of a particular wrestler or an event. You could put it in the search on the Xbox, PlayStation, whatever, and boom, you can find what you're looking for. But it's definitely going to be very vital, especially if they want to boost up the subscribers. They want to make that network turn a really good profit. They're definitely going to have to reach out to those old school wrestling fans. And what you just said earlier, they're going to have to dig up the AWA. I mean, me personally, I would love to see them work out some type of an arrangement with OVW so that we can see all the tapings of before Dave Bautista got really big, John Cena, Brock Lesnar. I would love to see how those guys did in OVW. Not to mention, it would definitely give OVW great bragging rights. Hell, there's not a Saturday that goes by where you see them plug, John Cena, Brock Lesnar, they all got their start here, OVW,
Right.
So it'd be kind of nice to see all that come about. NWA definitely is going to be the key, but if they can just tease everybody with it, I said it like several weeks ago, Titus. I said if they just go on ahead and per quarter they release content from one particular promotion, just slowly do that. Work your way. Keep enticing the people to want to already have a membership. Stick around because, they're getting ready to add this. I got to keep that renewal going. But do it like that. Entice the people that already have it and lure in the people that don't have it yet and make them go, well, this looks like it might be a really good investment. But for what it's worth right now, guys, there's no excuses. Go check it out.
Tell you, I think you're right. There's some tweaks that need to happen with the network. You need to be able to remember where you left off so you don't, you have to be able to stop a pay-per-view and come back to it tomorrow if you have to, no time to sit back and watch. I'm a old school WCW, not old school, but that 90s NWO Monday Night War WCW guy. I'm dying to sit back and watch 1996 Nitro through 2099 Nitro. I'll watch them all straight. But for $10, I save myself $40 a month on the pay-per-views alone.
Mm-hmm.
If that was all it was,
mm-hmm.
I paid for pay-per-views. There's a lot of people out there who stream it illegally, and then they're the ones that complain about the product not being, what am I investing in? You're not investing anything, folks. Mm-hmm. It goes back to the same conversation I would have about you voting. You don't vote. You can't tell me the problem with the country. You cannot tell me what's wrong with the product if you're not investing in the product. So $10 a month, you get to watch the pay-per-view 100 times if you want to for $10. That alone is worth the price. But we're on a network pitch right now instead of a Raw pitch at this point, I think.
Yeah, let's get back to Raw. And no, we're not paid spokespersons. WWE didn't put money in our pockets.
But I want them to be successful because I'm invested in the network since day one. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be there. I want Vince. Here's my money, Vince. Take it. And
Mm-hmm.
and it's only going to work if more people continue to invest in it. And it's worth investing in. Try that free week if you've been holding out. Try the free week. Doesn't need a credit card. It's worth the effort. But to go to that first segment was very nice. I liked seeing Roman Reigns opening the show up. First off, the Authority being on vacation. Again, it seems that either they're opening the show or they're on vacation. I made the tweet. I'm gonna get nailed for this. Triple H and Stephanie are on vacation as much as the Obamas are on vacation. So it's like every couple of weeks they're on vacation or they're opening the show. So it's nice to have them not opening the show. I think Roman Reigns came out tonight and established who he's going to be for the next 5, 6, 7, possibly 10 years. A very poignant promo, not stylistic, not The Rock, not John Cena, but a BMF is the word I wrote down. A bad mother trucker. Okay, that's for our friend out there. His comment was, the crowd went out there and said, Cena sucks, and I love this line. I wrote it down. When Roman Reigns is in the house, you're damn right, Cena sucks. So, I mean, he really set up the next era, which is going to be the Roman Reigns era.
That's a man's man. I love Roman Reigns.
I'm big on Roman Reigns.
That's a man's man right there. And those of you that's like, what's a man's man? Well, for guys like me and Titus and everybody else that, you may like Cena, but, you come on, let's be for real. You can't really picture a 45-year-old at a WWE live event pushing a Cena You Can't See Me shirt and doing, you got to go there. And it's so funny because, like, Titus, the last time I went to the WWE live event, like, for the guys that was, like, 30 and up, if they weren't pushing something Shield related, they were definitely pushing, actually, I'm trying to think. No, the Shield. They were pushing something of the Shield. If they weren't pushing anything of the Shield,
I'm a 40-year-old man. I'm not walking around with a big yes, yes, yes T-shirt on. It's just not going to happen. A couple of wolves, hounds of justice on my chest. Hell yeah, here's my money.
Yeah.
But you're right. He is a man's man. He's that 40. Let's be real. It's the 40-year-old man buying the network for the 10-year-old boy. That's what I do. I'm the one paying the money. I need someone that can wear a T-shirt too as well, because I can't rep the hustle, loyalty, respect, neon colors. I can't do that at 40 years old.
No, no. Looks horrific, man.
But it all went down in that segment. You had Kane come down. Roman Reigns said that Kane has become Triple H's lapdog. Let me correct myself, he said. You become Randy Orton's bitch. That, of course, led to a fight. Love to see Fit Finlay and Jamie Noble and Mike Rotundo all come down to break up the fight. It was nice to see Fit Finlay. Fit likes to break up fights now, apparently, not get into them. Took a spear from Roman Reigns. The segment ended with Roman Reigns really looking strong. I'll go back to BMF. He's a bad mother, and he looked it, he played it, he promoted right. I think you could not have done that opening segment any better.
That was a damn good segment. I really hope that we do something with Fit Finlay and crew, because they were, like I said earlier, they were really looking like the new Atlas security there, pushing the same colors and everything. I'm like, what the hell is going on
What's
right
the gray suits and pink shirts? Noble and Finlay and Rotundo were all wearing the exact same clothes. Was it a gag? Which, for those that are listening who are not in the business, one of the things that happen a lot in locker rooms is ribs, and I was thinking to myself, is that a rib? Are they trying? You guys have to wear this in the segment. I don't get it. What was the whole idea of the suits? But nonetheless, that's how it opened.
Yeah, yeah. And how about the first match? Usos taking on Harper, Rowan. Must be listening to me, man, because they did not go with the little boy singing the intro this week.
I think it was actually this is probably the third version of this entrance. Money in the Bank, Raw last week, Raw this week. Of the three, this is my least favorite.
Really?
It really was. It was just the entrance was like...
Too diesel-ish for you?
Well, first off, they're not the Undertaker. I don't know how they can just snap their fingers and boom, they're there. They're not demonic. I mean, they're not spiritual ghosts I don't get that. I'm a big believer in the music hitting the Titantron. The fan get worked up as part of the experience of, oh my God, that music hits. I know exactly who that is. I'm excited for my guy. So that's kind of taken away from them. The match, third time in the last 8 days that these guys have gone, and the third time they've delivered. Tag team wrestling with these guys, these four guys, is awesome. Now I need you to stop. Don't give me another match for 2 more weeks until Battleground. I've gotten 3 out of the last 3 shows. Let's just hold off on it. Let's not spoil how good it's been. But great opening contest with these guys.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, they really need to do their best. 2 weeks to go until Battleground. Yes, separate these two teams right there. And I love how the commentators kind of put those seeds in there. Hey, Harper and Rowan, they just defeated the Usos. This makes them #1 contenders, right? So I love how they put that little touch, kind of letting you know, hey, we could be seeing these guys at the Battleground pay-per-view. So if, in fact, they are going to pull the trigger for that match, then I'm with you 100%, Titus. They need to separate these two teams for the next 2 weeks.
Does that give us 2 Raws till or is that 1 Raw or 2 Raws?
Well, let me see. Because I'm actually on the WWE website right now, and I can look at the Battleground.
Because what you can do, if you've got 2 Raws, you've got Jey Uso next week in a tag team match with Luke Harper. Then the next week, it's the other Uso versus the other, it's singles competition, on that point, to keep away the tag team portion, but still give you the interaction between the two. That's pretty typical WWE style. But let's hold off on the tag team because I don't want to spoil that pay-per-view, because I expect something big to come out of that Battleground pay-per-view with these 4.
Nah, Battleground's next weekend.
All right, so it's 1 show. You'll probably have either a singles match with one or the other, or they'll both be in singles action against the other. But let's not do a tag if we all can help it. I just don't want to see that again.
Yeah, I mean, stretch it out. I mean, here's what I'm thinking. What you said, you can have one of the Usos fight on Raw next week, and then you can have the other Uso fight in singles competition on main event against one of the Wyatt family members. And then if you really want to entice things and make people want to check out SmackDown, maybe you could do a contract signing for their tag match.
Yeah, and that, or maybe a 6-man with Bray and Harper and Rowan versus the Usos and Chris Jericho would help to push both angles. But
Right.
but yeah, great opening segment. Pretty happy with it. That whole first half hour was really good. The opening segment, the opening match, just strong.
Talk about a weak match in the first hour of Raw. Alicia Fox, Nikki Bella.
It's purely storyline. We're going to make Nikki suffer for Bree's actions. That's all it was. And my only comment about that match is Michael Cole needs to listen to what the hell is being said. Because Justin Roberts said, by order of the Authority, this next match shall be a hand tied behind the back match. Michael Cole, 2 minutes later, says to JBL, you have to wonder if the Authority is behind this. Well, no shit, Sherlock. They just said the Authority, by order of the Authority. I even tweeted that at Michael Cole. Pull your head out, man. By order of the Authority, and you go, I wonder if they're behind this. Well, no kidding. All right. That's all I got for that match, because Michael Cole makes it so easy for fans to hate on him. He's not JR. He's not Tony Schiavone, for crying out loud. And he's just really brutal, and he makes it easy for people to smack down on him. So, but you skipped the segment before that, which is a really good segment with Kane, Orton, and Seth Rollins.
That was a good.
That was a good segment. And when I see Seth Rollins come out there, the first thing that I thought of after he was talking, I saw Randy Orton 9 years ago, on Evolution. Very cocky, very brash, very I'm the best, I'm the next thing, I'm the future of this business. Just like Orton was back in Evolution, I see Seth Rollins tonight looking a little bit like that. He came up very well in that segment as that young upstart who's ready to take on the world.
And the other thing I liked about that little backstage segment, I mean, it was very brief. It must have been up for like about maybe 2-3 minutes max. But I love how they put that little touch in there that, hey, these three guys, it doesn't look like they're exactly on the same page. You want to make sure that you're watching that Battleground main event, because we basically see Randy Orton say to Kane, hey, man, I'm sorry what had happened to you earlier in the night as you got owned by Roman Reigns.
One more thing, I would have gone out there and had your back.
Yeah, and Kane's like, yeah, I know you'll have my back, just like I'm going to have your back this Sunday. And then we see Seth Rollins come in, and he's like, well, if either one of you becomes a champion, he kind of sarcastically tells them, I'm going to think twice about catching the briefcase. Yeah. Right. And he rolls away, and then we see Randy Orton follow up on what you just said, cocky, arrogant. He's like, what do you say? Something like, that kid's a prick or whatever like that. And Kane goes,
I'm starting to hate that kid.
Yeah, he's starting to hate that kid, and Kane goes, funny. I was just thinking the same thing about you. So it looks like we're finally maybe going to see those seeds be planted there. Because remember we were saying on the Money in the Bank post show, I said it didn't make sense to see Kane hadn't had a championship in over 15 years. Okay, Randy, here, I'm going to set up the ladder for you. You just climb one up. I'm holding you. Now it kind of looks like Kane may finally kind of maybe break away, have his own little agenda and all that. I'm liking that right now.
It just seems that they don't have much of a plan for Kane at this point. He's just a bit player put here and there.
Kane made a lot of appearances tonight, didn't he? About three,
Yeah.
4, 5. I got tired after 3 for real.
Yeah, he did for sure. But it's just it goes back to the Hall of Fame. You got Mike, you got Mr. T talking. Send Kane out. He'll do it. He does every segment. So, but I promised to answer a question for you during that Divas match, and I said I believe Vince McMahon likes booze. He likes to put a match like this up that makes people just crazy. I'm going to tell you why. Years and years ago, the American Capitalist was once known as DJ Jam. I was a nightclub DJ for many years. One of my favorite things to do, and DJs do this because they're egotistical, and I can say that because I was one, what they'd love to do is have that dance floor banging hot and then drop that crappy song to send everybody to the bar. Couple reasons. One reason, there's no money in the dance floor. Money's at the bar. So you want people at the bar buying drinks. But the DJ does it not because of that reason. He does it because he wants to be able to, one, bring the crowd back because I can prove how good I am by bringing the crowd back. But also, when you make something bad and you follow it up with something good, it looks even better. So I think there are times that Vince intentionally throws something out there that he knows is going to piss off the WWE Universe, and he does it on purpose to be able to make the next segment look bigger and better or not as bad as it could be. Because the next segment really truly was Rusev and RVD. Not a great match, good, but following that whole Alicia Fox and Nikki Bella thing, I'd have taken two pigs in a mud puddle fighting over what we just saw there. So that makes Rusev and RVD look, well, shit, this isn't as bad as that last thing. This is actually a pretty good match, and it was an okay match, but it looks better in comparison to what you saw. That's my take on that.
Like I said on Twitter, I would have settled for, I tried to get into the match between Alicia Fox and Nikki Bella, but
there wasn't a match.
It wasn't a match. I mean, you just could not get into it. I mean, and you know how good Alicia Fox is. You've seen her work leading up to tonight, and you're like, okay, well, this is probably going to be good. Nikki Bella's coming along. Okay, let's see what happens. And from the minute that the bell rung, nothing clicked. And, like I said, I tried to defend the match when it first started. I'm saying, okay, well, this should be more entertaining than Two Girls in a Cup. But, I think Two Girls in a Cup at this point was more interesting than this match. You guys that know you know what the hell I'm talking about. Disgusting, I might add. But, I think it was a big contradiction, Titus, because it's like, oh, Total Divas, it's the #1 show. As a matter of fact, it got nominated for a Teen Choice Awards. Oh, yes, Total Divas. And now here's this crappy-ass match between Nikki Bella and Alicia Fox. I mean, that's just you give the Divas praise, and then 90 seconds later you give us a crappy match. How about you just don't give us no match at all? I agree. I think there is personal dark humor with Vince McMahon. What am I going to do with the girls this week? And he just comes up with some silly whatever, and honestly, I just wish it would stop. I mean, if you're going to present the Divas in a certain way, stick to it. That's all I'm saying. Like, don't give the Divas praise because they're doing good on a hit TV series and then give a crappy match to follow that up. You know what I'm saying?
Completely. My 7-year-old daughter is a big diva fan. She loves all the divas, and it is contradictory because you look. She wants to be a diva, but why would you want to be a diva put in that match in that situation? And it goes back to, if you watch Total Divas, it was the Funkadactyls and the Bellas that were cut from WrestleMania because matches went over. So there's no real. It in some ways it doesn't feel as we have a Divas division because we have to have one. Now I think we're getting out of that mentality because since the retirement of Trish and Lita and that era of women's wrestling, we've had a lull where it's not been great. We're on our way out of that, but right now you're still in that transition period where you're just old habits die hard, and you had a tag team women's match later in the night that was you had three very talented wrestlers in that match.
Talk about that match.
And Cameron.
And Cameron.
That match was really, again, it was, in some ways, it was a throwaway just to be able to do two things. It breaks up the Funkadactyls. They're done. And it started a very interesting, what I'm going to say will be a feud between AJ Punk and Paige. I'm referring to her as AJ Punk now because when she's out there, they chant Punk, so I figure that's her name now.
As well.
So you had Paige introduce AJ, and they tweeted before the match, "Are we good now?" "Yeah, we're good." They're like besties all of a sudden, which is going to lead to Paige turning on AJ, I believe, making her the heel, like I predicted a week ago, and it needed to happen. So it started. That match actually was not a match for match sake, but it was a content sake, breaking up one tag team and starting this weird alliance friendship that is going to be not going to end well.
I'm just thinking ahead as I saw everything that had played out tonight. I'm just processing it. I mean, if they do this right, I'm hoping that WWE doesn't pull a Titus O'Neil, Darren Young. Remember when Titus had turned on Darren Young on SmackDown a couple of months back, and then WWE, they just go, the creative, they go, oh, wow, we got something really golden on our hands. Let's go on ahead and let's book these two in a match at the next pay-per-view, and it just did not go well. They needed to do a slow burn with it. I'm hoping that lightning doesn't strike twice with Naomi and Cameron, and at the Battleground, just for the sake of, hey, here's a match, make it happen. Because if they really do this right, Titus, I mean, SummerSlam's not that far away. You might as well go on ahead. I mean, these two girls, they've been together for what, 2+ years or whatever?
Yeah, I just don't see them doing it. I really don't. I hate to interrupt. I apologize for that, but I just don't see them doing that because they need to get Naomi. They broke them up because Naomi has far and exceeded anything Cameron can do. And so we got to get Naomi out of this tag team. And a women's tag team, we saw how well it worked in TNA. You got to get that out of there. We need to get Naomi onto the Divas title. She was supposed to have a Divas title match before she got hurt. We need to get her on that, and we got to break them off. And I think Cameron should be postmarked FCW right away because she can't wrestle, she can't bump, she can't deliver a promo, and she apparently can't buy domain names because we still don't have that bomb.com in her name yet. Nor was it mentioned, as you said.
If I was a mean son of a bitch, and now that I'm saying this, I probably might do it. I might buy bomb.com and sell it to WWE. I mean, seriously. Like, if you guys aren't going to do anything with it.
And then now they didn't mention it, so it makes you wonder if it's one of those domains that have already gotten jacked up, and you can check that on GoDaddy, I'm sure.
Yeah. Now that you kind of broke it down like that, I mean, I must admit, because I did have the fortunate pleasure of seeing both girls over the years at the past few WWE events out here, and I was always impressed. Again, the one with the nice derriere is Naomi.
Naomi. The blonde is Cameron.
The blonde is Cameron. I got it right this week.
The nice derriere is Mrs. Uso, so beware.
Mrs. Uso.
Uso crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Crazy. Yeah, yeah. No, I really wasn't too keen on Cameron. Really wasn't.
Wow. Anybody who watched Tough Enough, who's a wrestling fan,
I remember that.
The best match she ever saw in her life was Alicia Fox and Melina. I mean,
that was her, wasn't it?
That was her.
Stone Cold lit her ass up.
Lit her, and didn't light it up enough because she survived. And
yeah.
So yeah, she's got to be postmarked FCW. Actually, I think I would love to postmark her future endeavors. You got enough other talent out there, but.
Is she at least, because I don't watch Total Divas, is she at least dating somebody on the roster?
She has a non wrestler boyfriend. He's not in the business.
Wow, that's really not gonna go that far. She better pull a Maria Kanellis and hook up with a wrestler. That's all I gotta say about that. How about the match that kicked off the second hour, man? Let's talk about that in depth.
Second hour was a great match. I mean,
yeah.
This was, for me, this was probably the last great match of the show. Mm-hmm. I think this was the second hour. After this it went downhill. This was Randy Orton and Dean Ambrose, and again, I love the music. For me right now, and I'm a gear guy. I'm a big believer in investing your money in gear and making it look right. I like the fact that he doesn't have any gear because it fits the whole. Hey, I was part of the Shield and now I'm nothing, so I'm just coming out to fight, and that's what went on. It was a good match. Ambrose is a workhorse. He's a good wrestler. He had some great submission moves, some great. Mat style wrestling. There was a humongous screw up in the last third of the match, a botch. It had Dean Ambrose come off the top rope, and it was going to do a move onto Orton. And some of the people on Twitter were saying, look, Ambrose screwed up. I think it was Orton who screwed up. Orton did not turn into the move, and so it just looked terrible. But it was only a moment. I think one of the coolest things of the whole night was in that match. You had Dean Ambrose outside the ring getting a 10 count, and literally at the 9.9 count, as Charles Robinson was ready to hit that 10, he just squeaked in. I've never seen anybody squeak in on a 10 count quite as late as that was. And then, of course, you had the RKO, and a really interesting bounce that he took before the RKO. Dean Ambrose is very inventive. He's an improv in the ring. He's very fun to watch. He might be a little weird when it comes to your timing in the ring, but he's really fun to watch.
Talk about that lame ass part of the match where you had Michael Cole and crew. They see Dean Ambrose. He's applying the figure 4. And somebody botched that spot, saying that he was paying homage to
Bret Hart. It was JBL. JBL, of all people. I expected to come out of Cole's mouth, obviously, or Jerry, who's getting senile. But JBL says he's paying homage to Bret Hart. And it makes you wonder if all those long climbs to these high 15-footers, that low oxygen has done some brain damage, because we all know that Bret doesn't use the figure 4, but he uses the sharpshooter. So I think the commentators need to do what the commentators do: commentate. When you get off track and start making jokes and talking about things outside of what's going on, and you're making up crazy stuff, and you get into those situations where you say something really, really stupid. And JBL has a bonehead comment to make.
Maybe all the drinking from his days in APA finally caught up to him.
Well, I think so.
Yeah, there had to been. One thing, and I definitely want to get your take on this. As I was watching this match go on, I couldn't help but pay pay close attention to Randy Orton. I'm saying, okay, Randy Orton, the Apex Predator, the Viper. You got a wounded Dean Ambrose. He's got the whole arm bandaged up. Okay, come on, Randy. Let's see you go in with those killer instincts. Okay,
And work the shoulder.
work the shoulder. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but probably only one time we saw Randy Orton focus on that shoulder is when they were outside and he threw him into the ring post. I'm saying to myself, come on, put some more good ring psychology into it. I was looking for that shoulder to get worked on the whole time because if you're coming out there, and I love how Dean Ambrose really didn't sell it. I mean, he sold it on his way into the ring, but pretty much after that, it was just kind of like, hey,
There's nothing to sell.
yeah, and I mean, the shirt wasn't even ripped off. I mean, it was just so uncharacteristic of Randy Orton, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think he worked it one time. I agree with that. It is basics 101 at wrestling training that you use this type of psychology. If the guy, if you have an injury coming in, you work the injury, which is why commentators bring it up. Oh, he's coming to the ring. He's gonna, you did not. You saw Cesaro later on in the show. Kofi comes to the ring selling the bandaged ribs. Cesaro worked the ribs throughout the match, and that's quality psychology. But you're talking about two completely different type of characters. You're looking at Cesaro. He is definitely a technician in the ring. I think he's a wrestler's wrestler, as you would say, But Randy Orton, obviously, I'm not a big Randy Orton guy. He's too privileged for his own good. Randy Orton has got this huge upside and great physique, great talent, and a 10-cent head.
Yeah.
Because you're absolutely right. You did not work that shoulder, and you should have worked it the whole match. And why didn't Dean sell it? There was nothing to sell.
Yeah. It makes no sense, man.
Makes no sense.
I can't believe they missed that because, I mean, you got two guys right there, two great pieces of talent, and you don't exploit that. It
has to go. It has to go to the booker in all of this thing. It has to go to the agent. The agent's the guy who sits there and sets the match up. The behind the curtain look is you got the Rotundos and the Finleys and the Nobles. Those are the agents. Those are the guys who sit there on the two. The wrestlers, and they set up how they're going to do things. He's the architect of the match, and if he did not say, Randy, you need to work that shoulder the whole time, make sure you do this, make sure you do this. If he didn't do that, then it's their fault. If they went through it and Randy just didn't work it, then Randy's a bonehead, which is probably likely.
Talk a little bit more about that Cesaro Kofi Kingston match because I didn't really watch that.
It was a short match. It wasn't. It was. Let's see, where was that? It was near the end of the night, I think. The third to last match. So we'll catch up to that one.
Okay.
We got other things to catch first.
Y2J Miz.
Before that, we had a Cena and the typical Cena promo in the back with Renee Young. Man. Another great segue with Roman Reigns coming up there.
Yeah.
Again, that BMF came out, and it really helped to push him a little bit. Then you had that, as you mentioned earlier, the Del Rio and Ziggler match, which really was just why would either of these guys have a U.S. Contender match when in 2 weeks they're in a battle royal for the Intercontinental title? Again, psychology. They would not be competing like that in my mind.
Yeah.
Then there was a great segment that I think was probably one of the best segments of the whole show, Goldust and Stardust. And I am not big on Stardust, but he's starting to work on me a little bit, Lee. Starting to rub off on me.
Yeah.
And I tweeted tonight, he really stuck out to me. That it looked like Jim Carrey's Riddler in the Batman movie. Very kind of just creepy, kind of comical kind of, what the deranged. I like him, but I don't want him coming to my house for dinner because there ain't something wrong with that guy. He's touched. It was a very good segment, and that was all you had of them. They thank you, Wrestling Heaven, for not having Goldust Stardust versus Axel and Ryback for the first time in 2 months. But yeah, that Stardust is starting to catch on, and what I like is they're building it. So they're investing in it. It appears they're investing in it for longer than a short 2 or 3. I feared it was some dumb 2 or 3 week sort of gimmick, but it might be longer than that. I don't know. Is Cody Rhodes' new character going to be Stardust? Is he going to take that on for the next 5 years, or is it? It makes you wonder where they're going with that.
I do hope it's temporary. I would love to see if any Cody Rhodes is going to come back, any type of a particular era. I personally would love to see Dashing Cody Rhodes come back. I thought that was a pretty awesome gimmick.
But the great thing about the Stardust character, Goldust was very cutting edge, very trend setting, and having Cody pick up where Dustin left off and carry that sort of Goldust Stardust type of a character on for another 5 or so years. It was a trend-setting character, and if you still did it in that way that Goldust originally was done, you could do something with it. I think that there's something there. But, who knows what they're going to do at this point.
I just had a brainstorm as you were talking about all that. Goldust is supposed to have his contract up shortly, and he may be taking a little bit of a break for a couple of months. You think about the pairing of Booker T and Goldust. Do you think, just wishful thinking, but I got the weirdest feeling it's probably going to happen, we see Stardust get paired up with Big E Langston?
I was going to say R-Truth.
God, no. He's had too many opportunities. No,
but they would, because
they would do that, yeah.
Vince is that there's been talk that Vince is big on R-Truth. He loves R-Truth, and that's why R-Truth continues to get recycled all the time. I don't know what the hell's going on with Big E Langston. The Reverend Big E Langston is talking like he's. I don't understand. I liked that gimmick the first time they had it with Devon Dudley. We're in this recycling of gimmicks thing going on now, and I don't know, but yeah, you could see him paired up with something. I think that it would do harm to the Stardust character. I think if you keep it, that creepiness that he had tonight was pretty good stuff. I'd like to see him do it himself out there. Man, if he could have Marlena to go along with it, that'd be awesome. And he's got his wife down there in FCW, so we could put her in the gold lame, skin-tight, boobies hanging low type of a dress and have her be his valet, and she can work. She's a wrestler where Marlena wasn't. I don't know. There's something there.
Oh, is she the one that is the NXT announcer?
No, she's I can't think of her name. You put me on the spot. I can't think of her name. I'm just
she's
blanked
on
on
there
it.
weekly.
She's a wrestler. I don't know if she's on it as she's more new. She's only been signed for probably a year or two, so I don't know if she's made the television program as a full-time character yet.
Okay. Talk about Y2J and Miz. Let me set it up for you, because Miz, and I did some homework, he said something very interesting leading up to this match with Y2J. He talked about this letter that he got from some kid named Johnny Russo, and if you're following Vince Russo on Twitter, he had some very interesting things to say about that. He was like, hey, I need to call my lawyer. Yes, let's get those royalty checks coming in, all that good stuff. And I couldn't help but say to myself, well, wait a minute. Something sounds kind of odd about this. I understood that they just off the fly, Titus, made some name up. But I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. Why give Vince Russo's pretend child or whatever, even if that's his kid's real name, why even give that credit, right, to the man when something actually did happen in real life with The Miz? And I don't know how many of you guys are aware of this, but The Miz was able to grant his first Make-A-Wish, and it was to a kid named Dylan. Dylan had all the other chances in the world to meet with any WWE superstar, any talent. He chose The Miz. And at first, The Miz admitted that he wanted to stay in character. He really didn't want to do it. But then, once he had heard, basically it was a Make-A-Wish kid, he kind of opened up. So, Titus, I can't help but say to myself, why didn't they go in that direction while still kind of having Miz play off the whole heel thing? Why make up a pretend Johnny Russo?
I think it's because they have no idea what to do with The Miz. They're just, we had all of last year. 1 week he is bad-mouthing the crowd. The next week he's hosting Miz TV with the celebrity of the day and, playing to the crowd. They don't know what to do with him. And part of that's Mike's fault. He's still playing the character The Miz that he invented back when he was on MTV Road Rules. He needs something else. And I'm going to tell you what I came up for with The Miz. I know how I would use him. Okay? We want to get Ric Flair involved. They've talked about packaging them. I'm a believer in reincarnating the Horseman. Now follow me on this.
All right.
The J.J. Dillon character is obviously going to be Ric Flair. He's going to be the manager of the Horsemen. He's recreating them. The Miz is going to take on that more of a Flair role. He's flashy. He's a good talker. He needs to be a little bit, when he dressed in the suits, he needs to wear the $10,000 suit, and he needs to play that Miz as opposed to this Hollywood Miz. I think then you can pull in a guy like Cesaro as the Arn Anderson enforcer character. You can bring in Ziggler as the Tully Blanchard playboy. We find him a baby doll himself, and he's a playboy Tully Blanchard of the Horsemen. And then you bring in the Barry Windham character, which is going to be Curtis Axel. You have the four Horsemen right there. That's how I package Miz. I package him when he wore the suits and he was, have him style and profile and be the man, and have Ric Flair. Having Ric Flair ride with you down the road is a bad thing if you drink, but it could be a good thing because he can teach you so much about how to be a heel, because Rick is one of the best heels that walked the planet. So it would be great for Miz. And to package the Horsemen, you've got this incredible name like the Four Horsemen, and it's not being used. So I think you've got Rick. You want to do something with him. He's J.J. Dillon. He's the manager of the Four Horsemen now. He can pass that torch on to the next Horseman. That's what you do with The Miz. You don't do this Hollywood star, I'm the Marine. Who gives a crap about the Marine? The Marine was a decent movie when John Cena made it. Yeah. It wasn't even worth talking about when Ted DiBiase made it. And now it's not that big. The best part of that movie will be if we see Summer Rae take her top off. That's the only part that's going to be worth anything.
Let me tell you something, and folks watching, every single time I see Ted DiBiase Jr. and you want to talk about, Ted DiBiase, he was in the Marine. This is what I see, and Titus, I know you can see that. This is what I see when I look at Ted DiBiase Jr. Okay, so,
right.
Let's be for real. Nobody's going to be paying attention to the Marine franchise, not unless John Cena is going to come back and they're going to reboot it or whatever, and they score some type of a new deal with Michael Mann's movie production studios or whatever. But, man, how about that match with Y2J and The Miz? I heard a lot of feedback about Y2J taking on The Miz at a house show over the weekend that received a lot of praise. I don't know, man. I want to get my hands on footage from that match compared to this one, because this one, it was decent. It wasn't bad. It was decent, but I've seen better Y2J matches.
Yeah, I wasn't. You know, the whole thing, the Miz promo, which I thought was the worst promo of the night.
Hmm.
It was meaningless. It was worthless. Um, the 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 entrance for the Miz was recycled. What was The Rock when he came back from making the Scorpion King, the view of the city and all that. They took the best part of the entrance out of Y2J's entrance. There's no countdown anymore. I loved the countdown. That's gone. The match was okay. Wasn't spectacular. It was okay. It was the whole segment was saved by Bray Wyatt.
Honestly,
It was
honestly,
saved, and
yeah.
I got to tell you, they want to make this guy a heel, and he should be, but he is so damned over right now. I would love to have been standing in the ring with Y2J and looking at that dark arena with all those cameras, the LED lights and cell phones on. That had to be awe-inspiring. It's growing and more, and I tweeted this out. I think it's time for a new member of the Wyatt family. I think it's time to say this thing is catching on. I've got another convert into the family, and I think it's time to maybe grow it one somehow, because it's really starting to catch on. And I think the fans were more Bray Wyatt than they were Y2J.
Dude,
And
dude, you just gave me a brainstorm. If they were to bring in one more member of the Wyatt family, I know the perfect person that would fit in just well. I want to get your thoughts on it. Ring of Honor's Kevin Steen. He's supposed to be coming up WWE anyway.
man, he has the look, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it would be easy to use. You just put him at a frickin' Raw, and Bray pulls him out of. The IWC will know exactly who he is, but the average WWE fan won't. I think that's a great idea. He fits the part very well. He's a good worker. He'd fit in well with that whole thing. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great point.
Yeah.
And and I think he's confirmed his last date with Ring of Honor,
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. I think he's got like what, a month and a half left.
something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Y2J picked up the victory though, but great sparring there as far as the mic skills go between Y2J, Bray Wyatt. I like how Y2J pulled an 80s reference though. He said quiet.
Wyatt.
That had me rolling, man.
I know that anybody under the age of 30 goes, I don't get it.
Yeah.
But
You're
come
right.
on and feel the noise. Um, yeah, that was a good
Girls
line.
rock the boys. Yeah, yeah, that's the joint, man.
Let's see, what was left? We talked about the girls' tag team match.
I see
Cesaro
two more.
Kofi,
You got two more. You got Bo taking on El Torito.
the Bull.
Oh Lord have mercy.
Bull leave and Bull leave, as
That's
Michael Cole said.
that's all you. I phased out as soon as I saw this match.
I gotta say, I am big on Bo Dallas. I am big on. First and foremost, we're talking about, Bray is a Rotundo kid, and this is a Rotundo kid. This kid is raised to be what he is. They've booked this kid terribly. The first few weeks on Raw, it was so entertaining and so. I mean, I bought into this, but it's a comic relief joke, and it was that moment of dead silence right before the main event. I was disappointed that that's how they're using Bo Dallas, because I think this kid has got a great gimmick. He's a talented guy in the ring. He talks well. He looks the part. If you're William Regal and you're running around the country with WWE and you're looking at talent, this is what William Regal does. He looks at, how do you talk? Are you an attractive person, whether a man or a woman? Do you physically look the part? And can we package you and sell you? Bo Dallas is 4 for 4. He hits all those marks, and they're not using him. They started using him great. Having him fight the Bull El Torito? Are you kidding me? This was a waste of what I think is a very talented young man.
It's an insult to him. That's just me. The way I looked at it, because like I said, I didn't even bother watching this. I went and I did something else as soon as I saw who Bo Dallas was taking on this week. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what? Are we like now out of options for Bo Dallas? You only do a move like this when you're kind of desperate and you're not really sure what to do with them. And for me, it just really kind of seemed like, okay, well, we didn't really put much of a thought process into what we're going to do with Bo Dallas this week. So let's put him in there with El Torito.
If it's me, I'm taking a risk, and I'm dropping the IC strap on him.
Cool, yeah.
I'm dropping the IC strap on him at this battle royal. He can win the battle royal. He can do his run. The best part of the freaking match was when he started doing his lap around the ring, and El Torito's getting himself up off the ground, and he bumps him and knocks him on his ass. That was the best part of the whole match. If you didn't see that, you need to go back and watch that part. It was pretty funny. Yeah. But I dropped the strap on him. You have an opportunity to see you. Let's test this kid. He did really well as the NXT champion. Let's drop the IC belt on him. Let's see what he can do with it. Doesn't have to be a long run. We can make it be a 2-month deal or something of that nature. I take the risk because I think he's got the talent to do it, and let's see what he's got. Let's test him. Let's see what he's got. But that's me. I mean, I'm willing to take a chance on something like that.
Nah, I'm with you 100% on that. I think those of you that's checking us out right now, we got a decent amount of viewers. While we got your attention, please be sure to give this piece a thumbs up. You can share this a number of ways: Google Plus it, Facebook it, retweet it. And if it's your first time checking us out, love to have you subscribe to us so you never miss out all the great content we do for you here on a weekly basis. One more time, this episode is sponsored in part by our good friends at 01 Pro Wrestling. Look, I know you guys, you watch wrestling every single week. You're probably saying to yourselves, I want to do that. That's what I want to do. You need training, okay? Hit them up. They can hook you up. They got a great training facility down in Florida, 01 Pro Wrestling. They got a Facebook page. Hit them up. Let them know Titus and I have sent you. That's on Facebook.com/The Pro Wrestling School. Main event time, man. I actually was preparing for the show, so I'm definitely going to be relying on you to take us home on this one because I really.
Well, I want to throw out the one and only San said that it is Eden, aka Brandy Reynolds, who is Cody's wife. She's a wrestler and a ring announcer there at NXT. So yes, you are correct. Thank you. The one and only San. So the main event, the main event I think is to again quote one of the guys over on Twitter. The Bullet Sky O'Connor again. This is going to be a future main event at WrestleMania for the World Heavyweight Championship. You got John Cena, the greatest champion of all time, if you ask Michael Cole, versus Roman Reigns.
How many times did they shove that down our throats? Well,
JR made a comment on Twitter that it feels forced.
Yes.
And he said John Cena probably doesn't like the way it's being pushed. I don't know Cena. Obviously, JR does. It does. It feels very, very pushed. And they got to cut it out because I could, anyways. So it wasn't a long match. I think for the most part it was like a lot of our matches tonight. We talked last week being a hard reboot of storylines. This week was a lot of setting the pieces in motion from that hard reboot. Wasn't a long match. Didn't need to be because. Why give it away now when you can sell it on pay-per-view in the future? Push the storyline. You had Rollins, who's got Money in the Bank. I think that they sold that pretty hard that he was going to cash in all the whole time. during the whole show. Excuse me, I got off track here. The whole show they were talking about the cashing his money in the bank, Seth Rollins. So him and Cena. I mean, you look at Cena. Cena's going to face Roman Reigns. Going to face Seth Rollins, and probably going to face Dean Ambrose over the next couple of years. So this is going to be one of those matches you're going to see for a long time. You had Kane again come out, as you said. Rollins looked to be cashing in money in the bank. And once again, Dean Ambrose comes out and stops the case from being cashed in. And I got to tell you, I like this. This is something that they've never done with this Money in the Bank. Every time Seth Rollins is going to cash in that Money in the Bank, Dean is going to be there to stop it. And that's an interesting dynamic, and it's something I've said for years. Why am I going to let you just do it? I'm going to stop you because I want to be the champ. I like the way that they've taken that approach on it. And of course, Orton and Kane were beating down John Cena, and Roman Reigns came to the rescue, couple of Superman punches, and then they ended the Raw with them taking turns raising each other's hand. Roman raised John Cena's hand, crowd booed. Cena raised up Reigns' arm, crowd cheered. They did that a couple of times, and that's how they pulled it.
Titus, what did that remind you of?
What did that remind me of? I don't know. What did it remind you of?
Rock Cena.
Yeah.
Rock Cena. Cena, and go a little bit further than that. Remember, there was two champions still, Cena and it was somebody else, and they kept raising the belts up in the air to end the show. I can't. World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah. Was that Cena Orton?
I'm thinking Cena Orton. Either Cena or not Sheamus.
No, I think it was Cena Orton, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Cena Orton too. They've done that twice now. I think that was overkill. You know, it's like I don't know what was more worse, man. The whole Michael Cole thing, 15-time world champion. You know anybody else that has a great record like that? And besides Ric Flair, and I like how they didn't put that little besides Ric Flair, John Cena. They didn't mention that, and they're just throwing it down our throats. And then you had the little thing at the end with John Cena. Hey, this man's pretty good. Give it up for him. Well, what about me? It just too much.
You know, if I'm an up and coming star, you want what we call the rub. You need a rub of the top guy to solidify you as the next top guy.
Right.
But, you guys on the show know that I've been pretty I like John Cena. I'm one of those rare guys in the IWC who says I like John Cena. But if I'm Roman Reigns or I'm the Usos, I'm telling creative, stop booking me with John Cena because I'm not getting the rub. I'm getting a bad rub because fans are starting to boo the Usos this week.
Yeah.
They're gonna start booing Roman Reigns. I don't want that polarizing bit that Cena does that brings. It could backfire, and instead of making Roman Reigns, I like that John Cena sucks when I'm in the house, but you too much with him, and they're going to associate him as a John Cena guy, and you don't want that. You want to have your own people hate you for your reasons.
They shouldn't have had Roman share the same space with John Cena, because if he's supposed to be this young and hungry guy that's going, look, I really don't look at the subliminal message that Roman Reigns sent to Cena tonight, which was, look, I don't really like the kind of guy that you are. I don't really like the fact that you're champion. I think my time is coming. I'm going to be that new guy. You're going to have to pass on the torch to me. I wouldn't have had it in with Roman Reigns sharing the same space with Cena. I would have had Roman Reigns come in there, do everything that he did, and then when Cena tries to come at him, oh, man, you had my back. Thank you, man. We could have just seen Roman Reigns just kind of look at the little handshake gesture and just kind of go,
walk away.
Yeah, and walk away, just let it end like that, and let Cena stand there in the ring holding the championship.
And somebody said to me, oh, he could have dropped him with the Superman punch. No.
Too early.
If Roman drops him with the Superman punch, then that means that it leaves a door open for Seth Rollins to drop in there at that Money in the Bank case.
Exactly.
I think you keep it separate. You're right. It would have been better instead of this. Raise my arm, raise your arm. The hand goes out to Cena. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, and Roman go, believe in Roman Reigns and walk away.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a great ending at that point. Again, it's a good Raw. It wasn't spectacular. We've pushed a lot of these storylines for the next 2 weeks going into Battleground. We've pushed them along. We've made them a little bit more plausible in why we're doing this and why we're doing that. But this is all chess pieces leading up to SummerSlam, and that's what we're headed towards. We're not headed to Battleground. Battleground is another set of pieces leading you to the Money pay-per-view and SummerSlam.
Yeah. I'm about ready to get the comments. We were supposed to follow up on something that we brought up last week. It's your call if you want to go into it. Same person, I cannot pronounce their name. I'm just going to say SB. Last week you talked about doing a Rock versus Roman Reigns coming up in the WWE. You want to touch that now, or you want to do it next week?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
SB had reminded us that last week we had talked about The Rock, Roman Reigns, who has the better beginnings.
Yeah, I think that I can touch it really quickly. I think that The Rock was the very first ever third generation superstar. Look what they gave him. They gave him this funky hairdo. Look at the outfit they gave him. They pushed him as this pretty boy, good, wholesome American. Oh my God, what a great kid! And it wasn't him being pushed out there, and fans didn't buy it. It started the whole Rocky sucks, and through that allowed him to be who he was. Roman Reigns is who Roman Reigns is. No, I've got multiple tweets. He's not a great talker, but what he did tonight was in his wheelhouse, short and to the point. They've pushed him a little bit smarter than they did Rock. And I think you learn from your mistakes, and you don't see guys pushed that way like Rock was anymore. So Rock was one of those last guys pushed as that in that certain way. So I think it's much more intelligent. The Shield was an incredible faction. Really, each one of these guys has a huge future. Roman's going to be the breakout star because he fits the WWE mold probably better than any of the other two. He's big. He's strong. You get him talking the right way, like he did tonight, you're going to see a great future for him. But I just think he was pushed a little bit better than Rock was.
WWE.
He won't be Rock. He won't be the Rock.
No.
There's only one Rock.
No. The WWE, they are playing it very smart with this big guy in Roman Reigns, because if you look at the past several big guys that they've tried to experiment with off the break, and I'm just going to name a short list. I'm not going to spend 10 minutes going through all the names, but names that just off the break that WWE tried to go, you know what, maybe we can make this person be the next big guy, the next big maybe champion for our company or whatever. Ezekiel Jackson, Mason Ryan, those two guys really did not go that well. Vladimir Kozlov, before they started doing the whole silly gimmick. You see
Double E.
Double. I love double E. Who's another one that they tried to experiment with? Titus O'Neil. I remember a lot of times early in his career, he's going to be a future champion, no doubt. He's got a great look, blah, 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 blah. And finally, when it counted most and it was time for him to really shine, and they put him in that feud with Darren Young, it just came up so flat, mainly because they rushed it. I mean, those
shouldn't have broke those boys up. Those two boys should have been stuck together and had a couple of year run as tag team title run. That was screwed up. But yeah, they don't do a good job sometimes. They try to push all these, and I get the people's anger. They try to push all these big guys, and and it's their own failings is what causes fans to get frustrated because you're forcing something that you shouldn't be. Roman doesn't feel pushed to me. It feels organic. It feels like the crowd wants it. It feels like, there's going to be those that don't. I mean, I saw some comments this week in some different websites where people are like, Roman Reigns sucks. He's John Cena 2.0. It's funny how people will say on one hand, we need somebody new, and you give you somebody new, and you're going to bash. It just seems that if it's not Damien Sandow, Zack Ryder, and Dolph Ziggler, we don't care. It's you're looking at three guys in the Shield who are going to be winning championships for the next decade. And Roman, all of them feel very, very organic, very, very real, and they are who they are. You look at Dean Ambrose, he's the character he was, Moxley, in CZW, and he is who he is, and I'm excited to see what these guys are going to do.
Yeah. But with regards to that, so I guess we're both in agreement. Like, if we had to pick between Rock and Roman Reigns, who's got the better upbringings? Who are we going with?
I'd say the better upbringing is going to be Roman Reigns. The best career, obviously, was Rock. I just think they made so many mistakes with Rock to start off with. He was not brought up intelligently. They labeled him. Look at the outfit he walked into SummerSlam with.
Yeah, I remember.
What in the holy hell were all those tassels around his neck? And he was clean marine pretty boy with this funky hairdo. They didn't do it right. Once they found the Rocky sucks, they could do something with it. And credit Dwayne Johnson for saying, I can do something with this. Let me go. That's why I say Roman had a better early push. I mean, and look, once Rocky got into a faction, got into the Nation, smooth sailing.
Yeah.
We have Roman came in a faction, and look what you got.
I'm with you.
That's why I say Roman.
I'm with you on Roman. I'm with you. Let's get to you guys' comments real quickly here. Not too many comments. I only want to go through a couple. I mean, there's many more, but I only want to go through a couple here. Lee Dobby. No, not me. Great show. I appreciate that. And CM Punk fan 123. Titus, I'm going to send this to you. Off topic, you think WWE screwed up having a part-timer wrestler like Brock Lesnar in the Undertaker's streak with no hype about this is his last match and lost out on all that money? In my opinion, the streak should have been broken by a wrestler who actually stays with the WWE. I'm just going to stop reading it right there, not because I have a problem with the question, but this is something that we see so many times, and me and Titus actually talked about this last week, the ultimate payoff, and it looks like it's probably going to come to fruition now. There's buzz, at least according to Dave Meltzer, that WWE is giving strong consideration to having there be some type of a match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for the WWE title. And it's being said that, take it for what it's worth, all right, but it's being said that Brock Lesnar may be working more dates with the WWE and setting this up. Titus, your thoughts?
I'm a wrestling purist, and the streak doesn't end on my watch. Simple as that. Okay. Doesn't end on my watch. If it does end, it doesn't end not to a part-time worker. I'm not even arguing that it goes to a simple wrestling belief. I've used the word a couple times. It's a rub. You give the streak to Roman Reigns, and then he can skyrocket to the top of the WWE based on that one moment. You give that moment to somebody who is just this far from skyrocketing. I don't find the sense in Brock. Now, that being said, none of us, not any of us, knows what happened in New Orleans behind the door. Taker could say, he could have pulled a Cal Ripken. It's today. I'm done. I don't have anything left. It's done. I want to leave the business the way I came. Undertaker is a very proud, old school wrestler. It's about respect. It's about giving to the business. You give what you got, and he gave it and left. I would not be surprised if Undertaker is not going to wrestle again. So it was quite possible he said tonight, and I want Brock to have it. So we don't know that.
Right. Cinch One, I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, and he went way back, Titus. Hey, do you think Sandow will end up like Charlie Haas and leave the WWE because they don't have anything creative for him? Reason why I'm saying that is because they have like the same kind of gimmick when Haas would dress up as other superstars. A very valid point.
My wife mentioned that tonight. Not Charlie Haas by name. They're not that kind of a wrestling fan. Would he be? Yes, but we don't know what the payout here is. This has only been, 6 weeks? 8 weeks of this? If there's a payout where he does something with it, then no. I think, but Charlie Haas had been with WWE for a few more years longer than Damien Sandow, so they've got too much money invested in this guy to just throw him to the side like that. I'm really hoping. I'm waiting to see what they do. I'm waiting to see what they've got going. Let's take a look. Let's see what happens at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna get concerned.
Exactly. YBG, with regards to the question about the World Heavyweight Championship, we actually talked about that for a couple of minutes last week. Go pull up last week's episode if you got some time to spare, if you are enjoying the recap for this. Trey, haven't seen Trey in a good minute. How you doing, Trey? Do you believe that WWE will eventually address Santino's retirement from in-ring competition? I'm not going to even read the rest of that because I know where you're going. I was actually a little bit surprised because I had actually took to YouTube over the weekend to break the news for you guys that Santino had announced his retirement at a WWE live event in Ontario, Canada. And WWE, shortly afterwards, they released a video confirming it. And I thought it was a little bit weird tonight that in some type of shape or form they did not address Santino's retirement. I don't know if maybe they're going to be saving it for next week when Raw comes back to the States. At least that's the wishful thinking that I have. But Titus, two-part question for you. How do you feel about Santino's retirement? And then were you also a little bit surprised that they didn't announce it tonight?
I was surprised about his retirement. Saddened because I think Santino he brings you that comic relief. You do need those comic relief characters. He is that comic relief character. I like him. Stone Cold Steve Austin is big on Santino. I don't think they address it. I think it's they popped a video and that's it. I don't, because he's not Edge. He's not a big star. He was a mid-card level talent. He's your comic relief. He got the opportunity to walk out and say goodbye. I think that's it.
Yeah. Read three more from you guys. Hellbound. I like how some of the characters were coming out of their shells. Roman had that great, not awesome, but great promo at the start of the show. Fandango, if he were to speak up, now has that creepy third-person thing going on, which Titus, you brought up. And The Miz got some new depth, and now he reminds me of a John Laurinaitis plus The Rock in 03. I wish Reigns would have speared Cena at the end. Miz might be a good candidate for the IC title until the bearer of bad news returns. I don't know about that. Steven, hey Lee, haven't been watching your review for the past couple of weeks. I had a 4th of July vacation in Tampa, Florida. Oh, nice to know. That's good. Hope it was relaxful. But tonight's Raw was solid. Matches tonight wasn't really bad except for Cena and Rollins. That was really good. But key points tonight, everybody promos were good. especially Y2J and Bray Wyatt's promo. That was awesome. AJ and Paige are the new Trish Stratus and Mickey James feud. Next minute, you know, Paige is dressing like AJ. I don't know if it's going to go that far, but we'll see. Odd segment with Bret and Sandow, and The Miz needs to stop with his Hollywood gimmick. Seriously, Hogan and The Rock, they made it entertaining, and they got heat from it. The Miz just really ain't got no heat or being entertaining with the Hollywood gimmick, and Miz needs to go back to the Miz of 2011 and not his Hollywood gimmick. Overall, this show was 6.5 out of 10 for me. Titus, you want to follow up on that, buddy?
Lot there.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna go back all the way to the beginning. No, Roman Reigns does not spear Cena. No, does not make sense. No. All right.
Yeah.
I think it was a lot of great, a lot of great promos, and I said that as well. A lot of storylines. No, I don't think this should be dressing as AJ, but there's going to be something dark and devious coming out of that. I think we're going to really get the chance to see Paige who she is. I see not Trish and Mickey James. I see Trish and Lita, and I see these are going to be some great stars. I'm excited about the women's division altogether. I think the Divas division is going to be hot in the next year or so. Not one sign that you can see. I'm sure there's lots of confiscated Emma signs tonight. Speaking of divas, you didn't see any signs out there. I was looking for them. I didn't see any Emma signs or been caught stealing or anything like that.
Yeah,
if you did see one, tweet us that.
Yeah, what's your thoughts about that? I mean, she got fired, and then she got
first off, make sure you have the $21 for your iPad case. First off, was it in your bag? Would it fall? My wife said that she gave her the benefit of the doubt. She puts things in her purse. I'm like, well, you're going to get arrested, so don't put stuff in your purse.
Right.
I think that firing her over it made me feel there was more to the story than what we knew. Having 8 hours later rehiring her tells me that they jumped the gun. So my take is make sure you don't put your iPad case in your purse or in your pocket or whatever it is that you're doing, gentlemen and ladies. Have your $21, buy it yourself, and if you're WWE, make sure you have the facts. And I'm going to go back to one thing. You had this great tribute to Chris Benoit because he was murdered. You found out that he was a killer. Now you had to undo because you jumped the gun. You jumped the gun. You fired her because, she's stealing. She's a horrible person. Well, all it was theft. Oh, we have to undo. WWE has a tendency to jump the gun both on punishments and character development and slow down. Here are the facts. It appears that Emma just had a bonehead move. Let her pay her court fees. Let her pay her give her a 2-week, go home for 2 weeks without pay for, bringing embarrassment to the company and move on.
Yeah. Real quickly, I had bashed the hell out of Walmart. I was like, that's why I can't stand Walmart. Walmart sucks, blah, 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 blah. And my girlfriend over the weekend, she goes, honey, let's go out for a drive. I said, okay, I ain't got nothing to do. Let's do it. So we go out, nice Sunday afternoon drive. And she goes, I was thinking about doing a little bit of grocery shopping. I said, okay, well, let's do it. I'm kicking back, just enjoying, window seat down, enjoying the breeze. We pull up to Walmart. I go, huh? So what the hell? It's like, what are we doing here? What? We're going to Walmart. I'm like, why are we going to Walmart? I just bashed the hell out of Walmart during Emma's whole release. I was like, I'm like a hypocrite. She's like, well, it's too late now. You can either sit here and sweat to death in this hot-ass car, or you can go inside Walmart. I said, all right, let's go inside Walmart. There's a point I'm making to this story. Walmart security did not check us after we got done with checkout. We told the cashier we have our own bags. We don't need any plastic bags from them. And so we come up to Harold was his name. I'm not trying to get Harold fired, but Harold does need some new training. Harold comes up to us, or rather, we come up to Harold, and Titus Harold says, "What's up?" And we go, "Hey, how you doing?" And he just goes, check mark, with a Sharpie. "Y'all have a nice day." And that was it. I'm like, wow. He really did do some thorough checking there.
But Emma had a SWAT team and paratroopers, and I saw snipers around there. They were going to take it. It's amazing. It's amazing. And the whole thing is bizarre and peculiar. And I go back to a lot of people have done a lot of dumber things than steal a $21 iPad. I think part of the rite of passage is to get drunk and have a DUI when you first get to FCW. That is your rite of passage before you can become a real full-time WWE superstar. And none of them got fired. So I really wasn't sure whether there was something else to it, and apparently there wasn't. It was just a knee-jerk reaction, again, from the company that's really good at it.
Yeah. If we didn't get to you guys' comments, we humbly apologize, but we'll definitely get to you all after this is over. One more time, give it up for our sponsors tonight over at 01 Pro Wrestling. Show them some love. Follow them on Facebook, facebook.com/The Pro Wrestling School, especially if you guys have some great admirations of getting into the wrestling industry, whether as a wrestler, manager, valet. Get that proper training. Give them a holler. And if you enjoyed this piece, hey, show some love, man. Give it a thumbs up. Post those comments below, Google+, Facebook it, retweet it. One of the many ways you can spread the good word about our content. Titus won't be with us next Monday night, boys and girls. He's actually going to be away on some personal affairs, so he'll be joining us 2 Mondays from now. But we're still going to do a show for you guys, so have no fear about that. Titus, take us out, buddy. Let's end the show on a good note.
Well, I over on my website, TitusMachiavelli.com, I have always ran a poll of the week, and this past week was, what did you, the fans of the RCWR show, think of my first week? And I gotta be honest, I was a little overwhelmed. All very positive comments. Even the trolls stayed away and didn't give me any bad comments. So keep your eyes. Every Tuesday we'll pop up another question of the week. And I want to thank you guys for bringing me into your family here, Lee, and the fans have been very encouraging. And I hate missing next week, but in 2 weeks I'll be back, and we'll have a great show then.
Definitely. Keep those comments coming. You can follow Titus on, and excuse me, folks, I'm just having a little bit of a mint over here. Bear with me. Follow Titus on Twitter at Evil Genius Titus. You know our links. Everything is in the episode description down below for you guys to check out. And that's going to do it. Real quickly, somebody asked a question about CM Punk. Are we going to talk about CM Punk? Titus is for it. I'm not for it. Maybe me and him can come with some type of a compromise. I see somebody had a really great question about the Noah family. Maybe that is something we can explore. Me and Titus will definitely talk about it for you guys. But yeah, if you have a suggestion you'd like for us to maybe consider to go in depth about on a future episode, just keep the comments coming. Hit him up on Twitter. Hit us up. You guys know all the links, and that's going to do it. Let's go ahead.
You don't want me to talk about the CM Punk stuff. You think you guys do. You think I'm going to talk about. You don't want me unleashed, unfiltered, and uncensored.
I'll tell you this much. If we do talk about CM Punk, I've said my piece in the past. That would be all Titus. I would just kick back and just have my mind be blown away. That's how I would do.
You want to know what I think? You can go to TitusMachiavelli.com. Go to the news. I have a news page there. You can see my blog. You can see exactly how I feel. That is how I feel. That should settle the issue.
It's a good article, too. As a matter of fact, like right here in this section, I'm going to put a link right here so you guys can click on the article and all that. Meantime, Titus, man, it's only been, 2-3 weeks, man, and we just rolling over here, man. It's really an honor to have you on board, man.
I appreciate being here. I look forward to keep on doing them.
All right. Well, look, that's it, boys and girls. A very good night. Good morning to you all. He's Titus Machiavelli, Lee Sanders. Wishing all y'all to be safe, be kind to one another. We'll see you next go round. Everybody, take care.
See ya.